Ready to elevate your credit understanding and score? With insider tips and a plan, you can take action to improving your score, which can save thousands in unnecessary finance charges. Let's tackle today's topic with your coach, Credit Christy.
Hey friends, it's Christy, your credit coach. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. What I want to talk about today is working on your credit. I have spoken with so many people that tell me they're working on their credit, and when I ask them what that means, they don't really have an answer. So I'm asking you, are you working on your credit? There is a difference in maintenance and improvement. Just like for our own bodies, maintenance would include bathing and haircuts and shaving, right? Improvements might be you're not really happy with your weight, and so you change what you put into your body as far as your food choices, and maybe you step it up a little bit and exercise. That would result in change. Or let's compare it to your car. Maintenance, oil changes, filling up the gas tank, replacing those tires after you've driven for tens of thousands of miles. But then there's upgrades, right? So there is a difference on maintaining and improving. And I share this because there's so many people that say they're working on their credit, but what they really mean by that is they're actually making their payments on time. They're making sure there's no new collections that are hitting, but they're not doing much about the rotten credit that they have in the past. And what I want to share is if it just sits there and we're not creating new behaviors moving forward, a new relationship with your credit and your money, you're just managing what's already there. It's kind of like getting comfortable with being overweight. We don't want to hang out there, right? We want improvement. So some people will just dispute the crap out of everything. But if it's really your late payment, if it really is your account that you haven't paid on, those disputes are going to be very temporary. So the credit reporting agencies are going to reach out to that creditor. They're going to say, nope, it's legit, and they're going to remove that dispute. Now your trade line shows that it was disputed, but that the creditor did not agree. So it's just a temporary feel good for your credit score, because what you're looking at on the consumer side, that Vantage score, if that negative trade line is temporarily removed because it's in a dispute, you'll see your credit scores go up, and that feels good. So think like deodorant or cologne if we're comparing this to our personal hygiene maintenance. It's something that's just very temporary, right? What about paying off a collection or even paying off an installment loan? Sometimes paying off a collection can have the adverse effect of what you're actually going for. Sometimes paying off a collection can really hurt your credit score. So it depends on what type of a collection and how old it is. A lot of times people say, oh, I'm going to pay off my car, I'm going to pay off that student loan, and that will help. But the contrary might be true, because by paying off that trade line that you've been paying on time for however many years, once you pay it off, it closes if it's an installment loan. And that means that good payment behavior of yours and that long-standing relationship that you've had with that student loan, that auto loan, whatever that installment loan is, when it closes, it's no longer part of the overall algorithm of your credit history. It no longer is alive or active, and so it's no longer helping your credit score. High debt utilization on credit cards. This can really hurt your credit score because of that overutilization of debt. In other words, if you have more than 30% of a balance against your limit, it can really have a negative impact on your credit score. But you know what hurts even worse than that? Late payments. That is the worst thing you can do. I have this sweet gal in my life who one day I will help her become a homeowner. We had a really great conversation a few months ago. I gave her some words of advice and some steps to follow. She's paid down her credit cards, and she sent me a text a few days ago just angry at the fact that her credit scores have fallen even though she followed through with the suggestions I had given. Then she followed up with another text saying that she had a late payment and her credit scores are now about 40 points lower than what they had just been. I thought, oh, goodness gracious, it's that late payment. So all of the good that she was doing by paying down those balances from maxed out 100% usage was offset by this new late payment. So the older a late payment is, the less it will hurt you. However, in the meantime, that one stung. And for a lot of people, having positive credit, acquiring actual trade lines that will report for you properly, report for you. A lot of people lack that. So if you're quote unquote working on your credit, here's what I want to make sure is your takeaway. Disputes are temporary. If you do get something that's being reported inaccurately removed, that can absolutely help. Talk to a credit repair company or your loan officer, or reach out to me at questions@creditchristie.com if you have a question regarding paying off a collection or paying down an installment loan, because it could potentially be more harmful than helpful by paying that and closing it. Keep your debt utilization on your credit cards below 30%. And actually, if you can get them a little bit lower, that can help too. Sometimes paying off your credit cards in full where there's a zero balance remaining isn't as effective as having a very small balance, like $10 or $20. Late payments are the very worst thing that can happen to your credit report. So keep on top of your payments. Set alarms if you need to in your calendar or on your phone. Pay early, extra often. Just don't miss those payments on anything that reports to your credit report. I saw a credit report a few weeks ago where somebody was establishing new credit and he got a bunch of Affirm loans. Those are like the buy here, pay here, and never made the first payment. So not only did he have an inquiry, then he also had brand new credit established and missed the first couple months of payments. So now he has all these late payments and it's in a negative status. Oh my gosh. So if you are seeking ways to acquire positive trade lines, check out my episode regarding the number one way to improve your credit score. That is talking about becoming an authorized user on somebody's credit card. There's a company out there called self.inc. It's an awesome organization. Not only do they have a secured credit card, but they also have an installment loan. It's really just your money, but it's getting reported to the credit reporting agencies, all three of them, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, as an installment loan. So you are technically paying interest on this because they're not in business to not make money, right? But it is a decent cost that you're paying. I highly recommend that. If you don't have really thick credit, you can go to self.inc, establish what's called a credit builder account. It will report as an installment loan, and you could also get a secured credit card while you are there. A really balanced new credit profile should have at least one installment loan and one credit card. Please don't go out to a bunch of stores and rack up all sorts of new credit cards. That's not really going to help you. But I'd love to hear from you. Are you working on your credit? And I don't mean to sound like a smart aleck, but a lot of times I hear that and it doesn't mean anything. It just means I'm making sure that no new negatives go on it. But it's not improving what was in the past that may not have been reflective of good borrowing habits. I'm so glad you have been with me today. And if there's a topic or a subject or a question that you have, I'd love to answer it in the next podcast episode. Send me an email at questions@creditchristie.com. And until next time, my friends, stay well.
Subscribe now and share with a friend to stay in the loop for new credit content and insider tips to maximize your credit knowledge. And follow Credit Christie on Instagram.